the next year was Wounded Knee, which again that's the caravan I was invited to go on, and I saw the hand of the U.S. Marshals and the FBI.
You were shot at in trying to get into Wounded Knee, were you not?
Yeah, that was a big mistake, but it scared me to death.
What happened there?
Well, there had been all this flares being shot and shooting, and some people were having to hunker down when they were trying to get into Wounded Knee out there in the brush till it was night so they could get through the lines. There were heavy military equipment there that I saw. Lots of military jeeps. And finally, it was blockaded at the time we got in. There was no way to go in except sneaking in. We were pressed, so we were going to go in straight forward. And we waited till the blockade was lifted and we could enter. It must have been evening when we entered in, and there had also been an effort by some local business folks to enter Wounded Knee on the sly. Mm-hmm. So they saw this car, and I believe I was driving, and they thought perhaps this was another sneaky bunch trying to come in. So I was actually shot at by the folks inside.
You were shot at by the folks inside?
Yeah, these guys were very nervous, who were in bunkers and you might say foxholes and all that. Unfortunately, a guy came up and he called it off because he recognized the car we were driving. It was one of the belonged to the people that from Frank's Landing. Thank goodness.
Wow.
But you know, it was a very tense time. People were coming in, and there were the Vietnam veterans that were coming in, and they brought their own guns. And I don't think at that point there was anybody on the other side that was killed, but there were some Native Americans. And I talked to some of the elder women who were trying to get the head of the tribe, what would you call them, disposed legally, and they were petitioning right across the street from where the U.S. Marshals and FBI were quartered. One of the big issues was that they leased their land, rather the BIA leased their land, and they got pennies for it. Now that's right now in today's news when they're talking about the BIA mishandling the funds all the time, and that they are supposed to get money from land they own, I mean that belongs to them, which others, European Americans, used like for grazing land and so forth, and they got pennies for it. And so we got to talk to some of the folks there who were, it was like any slum in any big city. There were cockroaches in the housing project, and
on the reservation.
Right, the extreme poverty, and yet the generosity, the pride. There was this one cabin we stayed in where the woman was in her late 60s and had on the wall the ticket because she had been at the Occupation of Bureau of Affairs, and so that was a proud thing she had up on the wall. And her grandson helped folks go in at night and sneak across the border. She had very little from a lifetime, and so it was a scary business, and we were treated by the marshals and the tribes, what they called goons. Every time we were stopped, our camera would be opened, so it exposed the film. I was with a young man who was Polynesian, and it was like Mississippi, the way we were being treated, and he was always being searched and spread eagled down the front of the car, and I was treated in a different way. But it was very scary there about what they would do to try to stop this effort by the Native American people to protect their land. Because, you know, the whole effort has been to open that land up by the mining companies and timber companies and so forth.